Hey everybody, I'm Ryan Ashley, and today we're going to make hoop earrings 3 ways. The hoop is that classic jewelry design that never goes out of style. They get smaller, they get bigger, they get wider, they get lighter, they get heavier, but hoops are always around. So today we're gonna make 3 different styles that you can take in your own direction, make your own, but let's go ahead and walk through what you're gonna need. So you need a round nose plier, flat nose plier, flush cutter, bent chain nose plier, bail shaping plier, 20 gauge wire, and I like this German style half hard. We're gonna harden it a little bit more too, but it's a great one. Bench block, hammer, and I have a bracelet mandrel. Okay, the first hoop we're gonna make is the one that I'm wearing, where it's a little kind of asymmetrical, it's nice and organic, it's hammered, and it just slips right through your ear, no earring back or anything like that. So the first thing I do is I go ahead and cut a good length of wire, say probably 4 or 5 inches, and I'll cut 2 of those. All right, and then I go ahead and create the space on the earring that I want to act as my ear wire. So I want, generally you want about 1/2 inch or maybe a little bit more for your ear wire. So I'm going to just go ahead and put my bent chain nose plier right there and just create a little bend. I'll do the same thing on the other one. Now line it up, get it in the same spot. And just do a bend. Now I'm going to grab my bracelet mandrel or rolling pin, and I'm going to put it this way. I'm just kind of holding this in place right below the bend and just kind of organically wrapping it around the mandrel. And I'll do the same thing with the other one. Just organically wrapping it around. Not measuring anything, not needing it to be exactly perfect. And you'll see because of the nature of the wire, it kind of springs into a shape naturally. So now you have these kind of architectural, like kind of modern looking hoops. Now at this point, you can wear them as is, but without hammering them, you might notice that they're a little bit less sturdy than you'd like them to be. So I'm just gonna do a little hammering, a little texturizing, give this wire a little bit more hardness so these can be your everyday go-to big, lightweight hoops. So I'm taking my hammer and my bench block, and I'm really, you see, I want it to keep this shape, so I'm not placing the whole thing flat on the block. I'm allowing myself to do a little bit at a time around the block. Because I want to keep that curve, instead of holding this down and hammering down that spot that's kind of popping up, I actually turn it a little bit to make sure it's already flat so I don't change that shape. And I definitely want to make my stem, my ear wire, on the harder side, so I'll dap that as well. I really like the shape of this earring. I want it to be kind of organic and have that natural sort of organic look to it. So that's why I'm not hammering this flat to make that, simple symmetrical hoop shape. We'll also do a hoop that is a little bit less organic in just a few minutes. On this one, I do want to add texture as well. And I love texturizing because this actually encourages the wire to move a little bit on its own as well. If you notice, it'll start kind of curving up a little bit, almost like curling up. And I like that because it just adds to that organic nature. Great. So now you have two organic, kind of free-form hoop earrings that you can just stick right into your ear. You don't need like a back or anything like that, and you're good to go. So for this next hoop, we're going to create what looks like a complete circle, but just like the first pair, they're going to be super easy to wear, very lightweight, big, bold, but still kind of restrained, simple and easy to wear with everything, and you won't need any earring backs. So go ahead and grab your bracelet mandrel or your rolling pin and your 20 gauge wire. This time, maybe I'll take a little bit more wire, maybe closer to 6 inches, just so I have plenty to work with. I'll snip it with my flush cutters. And I'll do that again just to make sure I have the same length in each wire. All right, move that out of the way. And now I'm going to grab my mandrel, and I'm gonna pick a little bit further down on the mandrel here. So I have both pieces of wire kind of in the middle of the mandrel, and I want to wrap them around right around the same spot on the mandrel so that they end up being the same size. Bending them over. And now that I have done that, I'm going to take them off. And I'm going to kind of just with my hands on my own, start shaping them a bit so that we close the loop on that circle. And I'm just doing a little bit all the way around so that I don't get any dramatic angles or bends in the circle. Just want to kind of get those ends to be closer together. All right, do the same thing with number 2. See how much smaller it looks now? Same amount of wire, just different shaping. So using that mandrel made sure to help us get the kind of correct base shape to start out with, the correct size, and now we're able to really refine it just by hand. Just slight adjustments. And now we'll do the same thing with the hammering and texturizing, and this will be ready to wear. Super easy to do. And the cool thing about simple wire earrings like this is they always look more fancy and high-end than they actually are, and it's one of the quickest things to make. So I'm gonna grab my bench block again. Okay, so now for my favorite part, the hammering. Now, unlike the other pair of earrings, you'll start to see this wire kind of lift up a little bit, but we are going to make sure that by the time we're finished, it all lays flat because we want one smooth hoop. So now I've kind of hammered it a little bit, hardened the wire just a bit, and now we're going to texturize with the chasing side, or the ball peen side of the hammer. If you find you're feeling tense, this is a great activity for you. Very productive way to manage stress. So we've gotten it pretty much flat, back to flat. We do want to open it up just a little bit so we can get back to that full circle shape. And then this baby is ready to wear, and it looks like a complete circle, super fun. All you have to do to wear it is kind of open it up a little bit like that and just slip it through your ear. So what if you're not a big hoop gal? You want something a little bit smaller, a little bit closer to your ear, but you still want something that's kind of eye-catching, interesting, different. We're gonna make a curly Q hoop. So I didn't show you this earlier, but this is like a big mama bail shaping plier, ring mandrel, and we're gonna wrap some wire around this baby, and we're gonna get a really cute curly Q hoop. If you don't have this tool, you can use like a fat marker, you can use really anything that gives you this kind of size or shape. And the cool thing to remember is that it doesn't have to be the exact size. I mean, look at this hammer. This would be the perfect handle to wrap a wire around to get it close to this kind of size. So use what you have, be creative, but whatever you do, just make a curly Q. So let's go ahead and get into it. Got my 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut about generally the same amount, maybe around 4 inches, a little bit less this time. And I'll do 2 of those. Now I'm doing everything in this gold tone wire. It's just what I had on hand, but you can do this with brass, antique tone, sterling silver, gold fill. You can really use any kind of wire you want. Copper tends to be a little bit soft for this kind of activity, for something that you want to maintain shape and wear often. So I would probably stick with other metals, but possibilities are endless. So now that I have my wires cut, I'm going to now wrap the wire around this larger part of the mandrel, the bail shaping plier. I'm going all the way around to create this curly Q look. And then I might do something kind of crazy and actually do the second one on the other side to create an asymmetrical curly Q hoop pair. I mean, that's kind of fun. So I'm wrapping it around. And there you go. I think this is the fastest earring I've ever made. You literally just thread one side of this into your ear, and then you end up with this really cute curly Q, cute curly Q that sits right underneath your earlobe. How fun is that? All right, so let's take a look at what we used today. We used a bail shaping plier. This is like an 8 and 10 millimeter. We used a mandrel or bail shaping plier. This is a bent chain nose plier. Round nose plier, flat nose plier, flush cutter, bench block, jewelry hammer, and we used a gold tone 20 gauge wire. We also used a bracelet mandrel. Now, if you don't have a bracelet mandrel or you don't have some of these larger mandrels here as well, you can use things around your house. A rolling pin, a fat marker, the handle of a hammer, lots of options there. If you want to pick up tools like the ones we used today, go ahead and check out the description below where you'll find all the links. And while you're down there, drop us a comment. What type of hoop girl are you? Big hoops, little hoops, curly Qs, plain? We want to know. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified every time we have a new video. See you next time. Until then, happy making.